Howdy! It's me, Ruby, the one. So today is my turn to choose a topic, and I decided to go with people's perception of us, because that's always fun. You know, hearing what other people have to say about us, positive or negative. So that's what we'll be talking about. We'll mainly discuss, our own experiences, how we felt from hearing about other people's perceptions of us, what they think of us, how it affected us, and how it affected our view on them, and just, a lot of fun stuff like that. So sit back, relax, grab your favorite Canada Dry flavor, and let's start the video.
It's all about me and you. It's all about me and you.
Yeah, so I'll just start out with something that I was told, which was a negative perception about me. It doesn't happen too much, thankfully, but regardless of it being positive or not, I remember it anyways. This particular one affected me probably more than any other ones, at least as of recently. It happened about 2 or maybe a year ago, somewhere in between there. But I was told that I was basically a pushy boyfriend, or just specifically pushy boyfriend. And normally whenever someone has like a criticism or a comment about me or a perception, I usually think, how well do I know this person? What have they seen from me? What have I shown them? And like where's the logic that I can follow into like what they saw to what they think? Like I try to like connect, how did that happen, pretty much. And in that case, I understood where it came from, and it's one of those situations where like image means everything. Nothing that you could do could change the image of what happened. And there was nothing I could do on my end, pretty much, to kind of defend myself or to prove that point to be wrong, or to just show how it's really like. And I mean, the truth is that like no one's ever going to see 100% of our relationship. Yeah. That's just never going to happen. So in that case, you can kind of always invalidate someone's thoughts on like your relationship, but at the same time, you also have to understand what they see is what they're going to think. You can't blame them for that. So in that sense, yeah, it just kind of felt like a big slap in the face, pretty much, because I had always grown up kind of being an overthinker of like, if I like a girl, or if I like a girl, I don't want to approach them because I just don't want to be a creep, pretty much. I don't want to be seen as a creep. I don't want to be seen as like some weirdo. I don't want to be seen as like a super straightforward pervert or a super like, there's like, you can make up anything, pretty much. And it really just, I had like zero motivation to kind of approach anyone that I had ever liked, because just somehow something can be twisted. So I just didn't want to be on the other end of that. And I kind of maintain that mentality when I'm in a relationship, where it's like, I don't want to just tell Ruby like, hey, like if you want to be an animator, like I'm not going to tell you like, hey, start drawing right now, or like force things on her, pretty much. I'm not going to force things on you. I will always suggest, I'll always say what I think is a good idea, and I always make sure I say I think, me, because I want to make sure this is a me thing, now it's all up to you. The whole decision is yours. I always try to like make that a big part of my explanation of how I feel. And it just kind of just all crumbled on me when I pretty much was willing to express some big plans that we would talk about to our friends, and Ruby had decided, out of the 2.5 years that we had been together at the time, why don't I just express any doubts now in front of everyone?
Not doubts in the relationship. I just want to be clear.
Not doubts in the relationship, but doubts in the
It's just
plan.
like future plans of what we do next. It wasn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, at least it sounded like doubts for sure. It's one of those things where it's like, when you really think about it, it's like, that was so I think that was so unnecessary to say. It's kind of like saying, you don't know if tomorrow's guaranteed. Like, well, obviously you don't know if tomorrow's guaranteed, but no one's gonna think like that. Like, everyone's probably just gonna be like, well, I'm probably gonna wake up tomorrow. But it's that. It's like she pointed out all of those, you don't know if tomorrow's guaranteed. All of those doubts came at once.
It wasn't that blunt.
No, it wasn't that blunt. That was the same message.
Okay. Just to clarify, me and Caesar have talked about this situation multiple times, just because it seems like it's been a big deal and it's affected part of the relationship of his one friend and his mutual friends, because it was like a mutual friend kind of dinner. And I remember thinking during that time when it was all happening, like, I didn't realize how serious it was to everyone else, because for me, I thought we were just having a casual conversation. And me being someone who's not very confident, especially in front of people I'm not too close with, because there are some mutual friends of theirs I never really met or didn't have much time getting to know them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was not very confident in what I was saying. I guess I did show more doubts than I ever had before in this specific thing. Again, not in the relationship itself. But I genuinely thought we were just having a casual conversation. I did not realize other people took it another way. And when Caesar told me, like, what was that all about? I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, it was just a conversation. He's like, no, you did not see their faces clearly, because they definitely interpreted it as something completely different. So for me, like, my initial thought was like, that's stupid. Why would they think that? Because I was so on the other end. It was a casual conversation. So I felt really bad because I didn't want Caesar's friends of friends to think that, because he sees them on a more regular basis than I would ever. So yeah, that was.
I try to point out too, like everything Ruby makes is like, I'm not saying like, hey, I think you should do this with like a gun. Like, I'm not like that at all. It was like the worst timing that one could ever ask for. And the big reason why it affected me so much was because, like I said, I had all these years of just thinking like, I just don't want to come off that way. Because I know I don't really care to be like that. I don't care to like tell you what to do or how to do things. It's not what I want to do. It's not what I like to do either. Mm-hmm. So because I know in myself that I'm not like that, I especially don't want to look like that. And so, yeah, that whole thing happened. It was horrible. So yeah, that was one perception. Probably the biggest. Yeah.
Well, I did apologize, because obviously that sucks for him. And I wish I could like talk to them and tell them like, hey, remember that one time? But that'd just be really awkward. Caesar's like, please don't do that. That's not a good idea.
No, and it's one of those things where like, if I were to tell Ruby like, hey, you should go talk to them, well, there's a pushy like thing that I just did right there.
I wouldn't be bothered.
It'll never work. I have zero
bothered.
escape routes.
I wouldn't be bothered.
Yeah, I'm not gonna force you to do that.
I don't feel forced. Problem solved. So for me, I'm gonna do a good one I mean, I don't take it as a good one, but I guess people may use it as a compliment. And then, yeah, just because we had a negative one. Although I do have a good negative one. So,
We could just do that. No? Good, negative, good, negative.
oh, okay, yeah. So I guess the perception that people have of me, it can be good, is I've been told on multiple occasions that I come off as quirky. And I think usually people would say that that's a positive thing because it's like, oh, it's unique, it's fun, it's like fresh, childlike, creative kind of feel that you get from it. I've never, ever liked, I never liked it. I don't like when people call me quirky though, because I don't know, like I feel like I visibly cringe when people call me quirky because it's just like, when other people are called quirky, that's cute. They're quirky. Unless they're calling themselves quirky. When people call me quirky, I think like wannabe hipsters and like airhead, idiot kind of feel. I don't know why, but I don't appreciate it when people call me quirky.
Don't call her quirky.
No, I mean like,
Just call her weird.
I don't know how to describe it. I think I genuinely would prefer weird over quirky. And I don't think that's good.
I mean, I know I've mentioned before that like weird in English at least it really can go either way. Like, because some people just take it like, oh cool, yeah, I am different. But I know like in other languages or just like in other cultures, weird is weird in a not so great way.
It's more like strange. I feel like strange has like the negative version of weird.
Yeah, they're strange and quirky. They're the dualities
There
of
you
weird.
go. Yeah. So I'm not crazy about that, but it is a good one. Like, I mean, I know that most people would say that's a good one, so that's good.
Yeah.
So now for my negative, were you gonna say your positive?
Sure, I'll go with my positive. The positive, I mean, I guess I have like two ones. I'll just run through both of them quickly. The most recent one was on a project that I was working on with, or that I am working. I mean, I'm still with them at the moment. We have like a project that we're doing. We've already done two other ones before that, and I kind of, from the very beginning, took the role of like director pretty much of the team. Reason being, I don't find myself to be someone that's very particularly good at one specific thing within like a field. I find myself pretty average at everything. So I just figured like I might as well just do all of the work, pretty much all of the management of things that no one else wants to deal with. And I'm really glad I did it because it really is something I enjoy a lot. I actually do like all the planning, management, coordinating, all of the generic words that you can think in between of all of those three. I like all of that. Also, I mean, another one is just like playtesting. Like I get to test the project a lot of times. I get to just like work with what other people make and kind of give feedback on it and manage everything pretty much. And I was complimented a lot about it. And I remember it made me feel great because it made me, it like reinforced what I already felt like was a good outlet that I was doing. It was like, I'm starting to do this thing that I really, really like. And now I'm getting complimented by the very people that are affected by my work. And that helped out a lot. It helped out making me realize what I like in a job sense. It just felt great. And it also made me make sure that like, well, I need to make sure that I continue doing the good things and that I don't start dwelling into like the bad parts of what management can be like or directing. So it's a good thing to be complimented, but every time I am complimented, I always kind of take it as like a warning of like, keep doing that. Don't stray away from that, pretty much. So yeah, that was a good one.
That's nice.
I didn't say the second one, but it already took long enough. That's fine.
Okay, So for the last negative that I have, not the last negative that I have is I remember when I was younger, around 13 to 15 years old, we were at a family friend's house and it was like a holiday or something. So some of the adults were drinking. Just to clarify, my parents don't really drink much. My mom doesn't drink like at all at this point. But some of the adults were drinking. And one of them, I think, got to the point where, well, not got, I know they got intoxicated. And they came back to talk to the kids because we were all chilling in the house while they were outside, sitting on the porch or something. And one of the women, came back to us and she was talking to us and asking about the family and like, normal, just small talk. And then she asked about someone specific and they're like, yeah, they're so cool. They're so great. They're real fun. Not like you and your mom, kind of boring. And she was saying this while she was intoxicated. So that's how I knew, like, she believed 100% what she was saying. Like, this is what she thinks of me and my mom, apparently. And it wasn't like, it was surprising to hear. It's not that I didn't think her and her company already thought this. I thought that they might have had these feelings, something like it, but it was just surprising to have an adult say this to me that I know.
To your face.
Yeah, and say it to my face, and I remember being really surprised and just kind of like, oh, haha, like laughing it off, like I'm so uncomfortable. And yeah, it definitely hurt, and it's not that like not that I dislike this person, but I guess I would have mutual feelings in the sense like I don't care to be in their company all that much because we aren't very similar people. We're very different in the sense that they're a more party person. They're very, very extroverted and I'm not. I'm very introverted. My mom's pretty introverted as well. And we don't care for parties much. We like to just relax, play board games, play some video games. Well, my mom doesn't play video games. Play video games. Just talk to people. And that's really it. So
just not loud music and not dancing, pretty much.
Yeah, and drinking.
Everything else that involves in a party, that's fine.
Yeah, I guess. But yeah, I remember it still hurt because as I think an introvert, especially a young introvert, I feel like this is something that maybe a lot of introverts struggle with. I know I did. Was I worried that people thought I was boring because I was so shy and awkward to talk to? Like I was too shy to want to interact with other people, and I think that would make sense to kind of come up with that conclusion. I'm like, no, they're boring, they don't like doing anything, just sit there. And yeah, that's not what I wanted, but that's exactly what happened. I had if you guys have seen Arrested Development, I had an Anne moment where that's who they thought I was, Anne, apparently. But yeah, her daughter's super cool though. And I don't dislike the company. I don't dislike even her. I know that we are not people who can really keep up a conversation much. Yeah. So it was definitely hurtful. I'm over it now. I don't know. One, I don't feel like that child anymore. Not that I'm extroverted, but I don't feel like the same person. And two, you know what? They were intoxicated. I was sober. I think I know who won. So. But yeah, it was just really weird. It hurt. But it's okay. I moved on.
A funny thing that I noticed was that for my good one and bad one, and for her good one and bad one, I guess not exactly opposites, but they're pretty different. Like, they're pretty on either spectrum. Like, for you, it was you're boring and you're quirky. And so it's pretty much just, again, what they see is what they're going to think. You probably felt a lot more shy and a lot less willing to speak or to express yourself in front of the group of people at that party. And so, or even before that, so that's probably why they thought like you were boring. But then at the same time, you've been complimented that you were quirky, and I'm willing to bet it's because you were a lot more open to express yourself and to say whatever you wanted to say.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And same thing on my end too. Like, I'm pushy. I'm a good leader.
Similar, but not the same. Yeah.
Right. It's one of those things like you're a bad leader or you're a good leader. You're pushy or you're not pushy. Yeah, in mine, I guess they're not as polar opposites, but it still applies. It's like, again, what they saw was, well, I'll tell you, like, the whole pushy thing, it just comes from like the way that I explain like what we're up to. So like if you were to ask, oh, how's Ruby doing? Which is, a question I get a lot. I say like, she's good. Yeah, she's doing fine. And then, naturally they'll probably ask like, oh, she's still in school. What is she up to? She's still drawing, something along those lines. And one way or another, I might add the May show. So I'll say like, yeah, we were going to start on this day. We were going to work on this episode. Or, if we're going out someday, like yeah, we're going to go over there. We're going to go to some place that maybe I like, that maybe Ruby doesn't really care for as much. So it kind of sounds like it was my idea from the beginning. It sounds like I'm kind of dragging her along. Right. But the thing is, I always make sure to ask Ruby, like if she's even interested in going at all, because there's no fun in bringing someone that doesn't care at all.
Caesar's not a pushy boyfriend, just a disclaimer.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like the way that I explain certain things. It's like, like Ruby's helped me out. She's helped me out in like homework, and I know that just saying that and like me not saying like, yeah, I help out Ruby too in homework, like now all of a sudden it doesn't sound equal.
So it's like,
Please clarify. I don't want people to think we're cheating.
Like I just asked for help pretty much, like just help. I'm not telling you to do something for me. It's just
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. I'm just like, what are you doing?
no, but yeah, it's like, oh yeah, Ruby helps me out with homework. Well, at the time, like Ruby's not doing anything. I'll ask, hey, can I get some help? She says yes, I get help. If Ruby were to do the same, I would probably say yes if I can help. Doesn't happen as much. So yeah, it's just those kinds of things. And again, it could just be me overthinking it, but yeah. So pretty much what to take from all this is that it's pretty easy to get any image that you want to have based on your perception of things, which are based on the information that you have. It's very easy to get different ideas of things. I think the best way, at least for me, which I feel very confident in my ability to be able to at least get the best sense of something off of the information that I have. And I'm always willing to admit that I don't know like everything about someone, or like just because I look up a story on them or all the history on them, I read it up, doesn't mean that I still completely know them. It's just like try to connect the logic. If you see a bad moment from someone and then you see a great moment from someone, see what happened in between, what led them to that point. I know like an easy thing to do is like for celebrities, just in general, it's easy to just like worship or see the better side of everything that they do, or see the worst side out of everything that they do. It's for any celebrity, very little people, at least in America, have a soft opinion or like no opinion. It's never like a mellow opinion. It's always like something kind of extreme, like, oh, well, they're horrible, or no, I mean, they're great. Like, you defend them either way, but you kind of have to just follow the logic. Like with celebrities, it's kind of easy to see them smiling in a general sense, or just always see them as good people because they're always in a good situation, because that's what is granted to you when you're financially stable like that, or have a lot of freedom in terms of time. You don't get to see as many bad moments from them.
Yeah, well, the celebrity example actually reminds me of like the whole Britney Spears thing. Like everyone was like, "Oh, she's going crazy" back in 2000. They're making fun of her. Yeah, they were making fun of her when she went and had like a breakdown. But like now everyone's praising Britney and being super supportive and wanting to help her get as much help as she needs, because now we have a fuller picture of what actually was going on back then. I mean, you knew that she was having some sort of mental breakdown back then, but one, we didn't care as much because mental health wasn't as big of a deal as it is now, I think, like the interest in it. But two, we also didn't know what was going on, like not just with her mental health, but like what was going on with her family relationships and stuff. So that made a huge difference.
Well, and it's easy to shoot down someone that's already been on a high point for so long that like the one mess up that they make is it's like, oh, it's so easy to just write them off. Like, see, told you they're not perfect.
Yeah, no one said they were.
Yeah. So yeah, like our perceptions can be pretty weak, ultimately. That's just how it is. So the best way that you can fix that is to just get more information, or to just look deeper into it and try to make sense of everything. Try to be in their shoes.
If you know them, ask questions too.
Yeah,
just to confirm.
That's another thing. Like just don't assume so much.
Yeah.
Which I think we're all the victims of. So I hope you guys enjoyed what we had to talk about with perceptions. Like I've mentioned before, someone's perception of you can really come from anything, from what they see of you, from what they hear about you. But just understand that everyone else's perception never really is the whole picture of who you are. Hopefully you have a good grasp of who you are, and you can kind of fill in the spots of where they got to their conclusion and where you get to your conclusion. And I think that's how we can get to a better understanding of each other. It's how you avoid problems, for sure. Now, I know that this is like the first episode in 2 months. And the reason for that was just because we've just been halted pretty much. In terms of just workload, trying to figure out like how can we best show who me and Ruby are, which is the whole point of May. It's just been a challenge pretty much. I do see us getting better at this soon, because we're just mixing it up, seeing whatever works between us. I hope it pans out in the end, but really I think we're just trying to find the balance of what makes this fun and what makes this worthwhile. So you guys will be in the know for sure of how this goes. Although I do see a bright future for it, especially now, because it wasn't looking too bright not too long ago. But I'm glad that we're getting things situated out now. So we'll hope to see you again sometime. Aside from that, have a good month. Episode 6.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Or 5, my bad, 5.